Alright guys, so today's video we're going to be checking out the brand new JLab JBuds Air Pro. Now this is a $59 pair of earbuds where I feel like the company is definitely using the term pro a little too loosely. And I've said this about other earbuds that use the pro title, but JLab takes it a little bit of a step further and they sent out a spec sheet comparing these to other pro earbuds. In fact, this is even on their website if you want to check it out. And when you compare a $59 pair of earbuds to the AirPods Pros that are $200 or the Galaxy Buds Pro that are also $200, obviously the first thing you're gonna see is the huge price difference. There's $59 and then there's $200. But the huge glaring omission, and the one thing that these are definitely missing compared to those models, is the JBuds Air Pro does not have active noise canceling. Now, I did find it interesting that they do have a Be Aware mode, so it's awareness mode or transparency mode that you can switch these into. And these actually do a very good job of being able to hear your surroundings. But the JLabs also don't have any kind of fast charging or Qi wireless charging, which those other Pro models have. So we're gonna talk about the features that these do have. We're gonna talk about the sound, what all comes inside the box, and see why, even though the JLabs don't have certain features, why I still think this may be their best product coming in at $59. So to start with, as far as connecting the earbuds to your device, if you do have an Apple device, you'll just connect this like you would any other Bluetooth device. But if you do have an Android device, as soon as you pop open the lid, it does have the pop-up connection on your phone. In fact, you see the earbuds just pop up on the screen. It's a simple just tap to connect, and it's very easy to just get connected to your device. And speaking of connection, this pair does have multi-point connection, and that is a huge feature that this pair has that a lot of other earbuds don't, where you can be connected to two different devices at the same time. Now, it doesn't mean that you can hear audio from both devices, but if you're on your laptop or your tablet or whatever and you're watching a movie or playing a game, and somebody calls in on your phone, it will just automatically pause what you're doing, or at least pause a movie, and allow you to take your call without having to go in and switch from one device to the other. And I know that this is a very important feature to a lot of people because I get asked all the time, does this earbud have multi-point, or can you connect to more than one device at a time? And this pair does this, and that is definitely a rare thing in this price range. Now, as far as the connection itself, these do have Bluetooth 5.1, and they only have AAC and SBC playback. So you're not getting any high-end Bluetooth codecs here, but luckily I didn't experience any kind of compression with the audio. And this pair also has a movie/gaming mode, which is basically a low latency mode that you can switch them into, so you don't have to worry about having lag with movies or videos or games and things like that. So it already makes this a very good device to use with all different types of media. But always keep in mind, if you're using a low latency or a movie mode or anything like that, it is going to cut down on your battery life, and it's also going to keep you from being able to get a long way from your device. So it kind of cuts down on the connection you have as well. Now, one feature that these have, which pretty much every JLab earbud has had that's been released in the last few years, is it does have those 3 built-in EQ modes that you can just switch between just from the earbud itself, because these earbuds don't work with an app. So it is nice that you can switch between the 3 different EQ settings, which is the JLab signature sound mode, you have the balanced mode, and then you also have the bass boost mode. And this is the first time that I actually found the bass boost mode to be enjoyable, and we'll talk about that once we get into the sound. Now, as far as using these outdoors or at the gym or anything like that, this pair actually comes in rated at IP55, which means not only does it have water resistance, it also has dust resistance as well. So this makes this a good pair to use at the beach where there's gonna be sand. If it gets splashed on, or if it rains, or if you're somebody that sweats heavily, you don't have to worry about it with this pair, but this is still not one of those that you can submerge into water. Now, as far as what all you get inside the box, it does come with 3 different sets of gel ear tips, and it also has 2 different fins, or at least they're calling them fins, but really it's a silicone grip that goes around the outside of the earbud. And this just keeps it in your ear, keeps it from moving around, and just gives you a little bit more stability, especially if you're going to be doing things like running or going to the gym and things like that. So I like that they include this in the box. And then the next thing, and this is always something that people either love or hate about JLab products, is the case actually has the charging cable built in. So you don't have an external cable that you have to keep up with to actually charge the case. The cable is built in on the bottom. You just simply flip it out and then plug it into any charging brick that you have. And I personally like this because I don't like keeping up with extra cables, but I do understand people's arguments that if something happens to the cable, like it tears or rips or gets worn out, there's no other way to actually charge the case. But JLab does warranty their products, I believe, for like 2 years. But if you're like me, I don't like dealing with warranties. I just like my stuff to work. So I do understand wanting an extra cable, but again, I still like the fact that the cable's already there. Now, speaking of the charging, the battery life is very good on this pair. In fact, I noticed that the earbuds are slightly larger than some of the other JLab earbuds that I've tested. And if that's to cram a little bit more battery life into these, I can accept that, because on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 9 hours, where with the charging case, you're gonna get about 36 hours total. And that's gonna get people more than through their normal workday. The 36 hours, most people aren't gonna use that in a normal week, but this pair does not have any kind of fast charging. So you're going to wanna make sure that your case is always charged. And I've just gotten used to having fast charging on other earbuds, so I really wish JLab would have had that on this pair. But moving over to looking at the actual earbuds and the case itself, this really does just look like every other JLab case. It doesn't really stand out. There's no unique look to it. Like I said, the USB cable is built in on the bottom. On the front, you have 3 indicator lights, and this is to let you know the battery level of the case itself, but it will also let you know on the left and the right that both of your earbuds are in and that they're charging. But when you open up the case, the earbuds also have lights located on them that you can see is lit up while they're in the case. And again, this is just to let you know that they're in and that they're charging. And the earbuds themselves, I've found to be very comfortable. They're very subtle. They don't have any kind of flashy looks or anything like that. And they also use touch controls. They give you control over everything but the ability to go back to your previous track. So you have your play, your pause, the ability to skip your track forward. You can turn your volume up and down. You can switch it between the 3 different EQ settings. You can switch it into that low latency mode, but you don't have the ability to go back to the previous track. And this is frustrating because they're giving you control over so many different things. And like I said, it doesn't work with an app, so there's no way to fix this. And one thing they could have done was just taken away the ability to play and pause your music, because the earbuds themselves actually has smart sensors where it will just auto pause when you take them out. So if they would have just gotten rid of the play pause feature on the earbuds and gave you previous track control, that could have fixed everything. Now, for you guys that do like to use your earbuds for taking phone calls, this is one area that I think JLab, for the most part, and all of their other earbuds that I've tested, usually does really well. And honestly, this pair is no exception. I feel like it picked up my voice very cleanly, and I also felt like it did a really good job of blocking out my surroundings if I'm talking in a noisy environment. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is the mic test using the JBuds Air Pro. One thing I did want to mention is when you're using the microphone on these, it seems to also channel in your voice. So you can hear your voice so you're not yelling. And I feel like it does a really good job of picking up my voice. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, because in my opinion, this is like the saving grace of these earbuds. I've tested so many JLab earbuds and headphones and all that throughout the years. I feel like the JBuds Air Pro is JLab's best sounding product yet. I think they went a different route with the sound signature. They didn't focus on being a somewhat bass-heavy earbud. There is a lot of focus on the mids and the treble. This is a very clean and detailed-sounding earbud. The bass does still have a nice punch to it, but it is a very quick and to-the-point punch. So you feel it, and the bass is already moved on. But this, again, is where I said the bass boost mode is actually enjoyable on this pair, because the bass boost mode just kind of loosens up the bass a little bit, and they still keep the clean mids and treble. So the bass just doesn't come in and dull out everything else. And I think that is where most people are gonna enjoy using these. I personally just still left them in the signature sound EQ setting, because with this pair, vocalists sounded great because the mids are pushed just slightly forward. I never felt like, no matter what genre I was listening to, that the vocalist just kind of got buried in the back. They always stood out slightly up front in front of the instruments. And the treble on these had a nice bright feel without actually getting harsh or having any kind of sibilant sounds with S's or anything like that. So it's a very clean earbud, a nice tight bass, and the soundstage and the sound imaging were also very impressive in this pair. It sounded fairly open. I felt like I was in a much larger room than some other earbuds, but the attention to detail and the separation that you can get with instruments and the distance that you're feeling, this pair does a very good job with. So really, my overall opinion is this. I don't feel like JLab should have named this Pro without having active noise canceling or Qi wireless charging or fast charging like a lot of those other Pro earbuds have. But if you take away that Pro name, you really are getting an incredible sounding earbud in this $59 price range that's also giving you excellent battery life. It's also giving you a transparency or awareness mode so you can hear your surroundings. And having that dust resistance is nice, especially for people that may work in those type of environments or just use their earbuds at the beach. And again, for me, I like having the convenience of the charging cable on the case itself. So I think in this $59 price range, especially just based off sound alone, this is one of the best pairs that you can buy if you can just look past some of the features that you feel like you should be getting because of that Pro name. So guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new JLab JBuds Air Pro. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.